What's your favorite movie poster? Let's talk about it. Welcome back, everybody, to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite movie posters of all time. I did throw in a couple of honorable mentions. We'll get to that in just a second. But before we do, if you are new here, consider hitting that subscribe button, letting me know that you guys like the kind of content that we put out here. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like as well. Just to clarify before we do get into this, as someone who was born in the early 2000s, there's a mix of old and newer, I'd say like 2000s movies in here. And just remember, this isn't the correct list, this is just my list. So without further ado, let's get into some of our honorable mentions. So I have 4 honorable mentions. I'll just quickly go through them quick. The first one is Tron Legacy. As you guys know, this is one of my favorite movies. It's not in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, but I just love the way that this movie looks. I love the way that the movie feels. I do like the original Tron, but I think that this one is so much better, and the poster really reflects a lot of what I like about the movie, just like the dark themes and just the use of colors and like the whites and like the dark blue. I don't know. There's something about it that I just really, really love. My second honorable mention is this Ant-Man and the Wasp poster that was like they were having like a fan thing, like you could watch both Ant-Man and the Wasp. I wish they did movie posters, especially comic book movie posters, more like this. Out of the entire MCU, I think there's maybe one poster on this list, and it's not even in the top 5. That's pretty disappointing because, those movies are so much part of the top 10 highest grossing films of all time, and the posters just always are not good. I would love if they were able to do like something like the coin, them hiding behind the coin. Genius idea. Love it. My third honorable mention is Scream. I think it kind of speaks for itself. It's very simple and straightforward, to the point, and it just has that like slasher look to it. It's not trying to be all these characters. It just has that slasher look to it. It's just very classic. I really like it. And my final honorable mention is the Interstellar poster with Matthew McConaughey in his spacesuit. This is a really special poster to me, not only because Interstellar is my favorite movie of all time, but just because I actually have this poster sitting right here, and it just kind of, every time I look at it, it gives me the same feeling, like, hey, I want to watch Interstellar again. It's almost like an uncertainty photo of like not knowing if this is going to be the planet for them. I don't know what it is about it, and I don't know if it's just biased because I love the movie. Maybe, but that's what this list is all about. It's my favorite. So, let's get into our top 10 favorite movie posters of all time. Cracking the top 10, we have a movie that I know not a lot of people have heard of. It's called Tomorrowland. I believe it came out in about 2015, and it was based off of the actual, like, land at Disneyland that they have, and I was one of those people where I really enjoyed the concept of this movie. I think it could have played out a little bit better, but I still really enjoy this movie. Probably, again, just because of the theme of what they're trying to go after here, the main message. I'm really into it like that, and I think visually, I don't think it's too bad looking of a movie. I thought the CGI was pretty decent, but I love this poster in general of them standing in the field, looking out into the distance of the city, and I love the John Walker. He's like the young version, and then of course the older version. I think it just works really well. And coming in at number 9, we have the Spider-Man No Way Home ledge poster. Specifically, this poster. And let me tell you, when I was prepping for this video to get all of these images to show you guys, it took me like an hour to find an image of this that was just regular. I can't even find one that doesn't have like writing on it, because it either has like some kind of weird like sticker thing on it, or it just has all this different stuff on it. And it's like, where's the base poster? I actually have, if you can see right back there, I have the poster. Why can't we get that? I don't know. I don't know why this poster is so hard to come by now. But anyway, yes, I absolutely love this poster. It kind of just reflects everything that, for me, that this movie was, and that, like, the things that Peter struggles with all the time. You see, like, the public enemy #1 thing, and he has to struggle with saving the city even if they don't view him as a hero. And that's something, and, like, just, I don't know. This movie was, the movie's already great, but this poster just tells just tells that story in some sense. And every time I look at it, it just makes me want to watch Spider-Man again. Any of the Spider-Man movies. So that's why it comes in at number 9 for me. Coming in at number 8, I actually have the poster for WALL-E. So this isn't the DVD or whatever cover, but this was like one of the main posters that was in the movies when it first came out. I just really like this poster in particular. It just shows WALL-E looking up into space. Because he's a robot that just hasn't found, his thing yet in life. He just kind of wanders Earth, this trash-based Earth, and he wants love. He watches, old movies, and he does the same thing every day, and he wants that feeling of change. And then he does finally get it from the very place that he's looking from in this poster. So it's a bit of foreshadowing as well. So I absolutely love this poster. Not to mention, I'm a huge fan of just space and all those kinds of things. So I think that this poster just looks really good as well. And at the number 7 spot, we have the E.T. poster. This is probably one of the most iconic posters of all time. And for good reason. You look at this poster, and even people who who barely know anything about movies can probably tell you what this poster is for. It kind of speaks for itself. E.T. extraterrestrial, and you have the moon with the bike floating, and it almost is like, why would the bike be floating? Until you realize, the reason it's floating is because who's in it is not from Earth. And it just kind of tells a whole story in one photo. And I think that's really, for one photo to be able to tell a whole story, I think is really neat. And I love looking at posters that tell stories. So that's why it comes in at my number 7 for me. And at the number 6 spot, we have the Deathly Hallows Part 2 poster. This poster, I remember, now I was young when Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out. I was probably around the age of 11 or 12. And I just remember, I grew up watching all of the Harry Potter movies with my older sister. And I remember whenever I would go out into public, I would see this poster marketed everywhere. Because this was like long before like the MCU was really big. I think Avengers might have been out, but I think that was the biggest one out at the time. And the Harry Potter franchise was finally starting to come to a close. And it was huge. I think, yeah, even on the poster, it doesn't even tell you the name of the movie. It just says it all ends. And if that doesn't tell you how much hype and anticipation was behind this movie, I don't know what can. And besides that, just the actual poster itself with the wand, with the Elder Wand, and good versus evil. It's just a very classic poster. And it just represents so much, represents the entire series. And not only does it represent just Harry Potter, but it can, this image can be so easily replaced with, whether it's like a lightsaber or just some really iconic franchise. So I think it's just, I don't know, I'm really into it. It's definitely one of my favorites. And now we are in the top 5. And as our top 5, we have Raiders of the Lost Ark. I look at this poster and I think it's almost like I want to say that the poster came before the movie. They were just like, let's make a cool, like, old looking photo about an adventurer. And it's exactly that. I look at this photo and like, this is something like, even if I've never watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, I would want this in my house. I think it looks so awesome. It literally looks like something they dug up. It looks like an ancient artifact that they, you know, found, which is quite literally the premise of the entire movie. And it just blows my mind that they were able to come up with such an awesome poster for such an awesome movie that not only just is great looking, but you get a good enough idea of what the movie's going to be about. So that's why it comes in as my top 5. And coming in at number 4, I know a lot of you probably would have had this at number 1, but I have Jaws. This is probably the most iconic movie poster of all time. It is definitely one of my favorites, and it's so simple. There's all these characters. It's a shark movie. It's a summer movie. It's a summer blockbuster. When I look at this poster, you know, this might sound weird, but I always think of like just summer and the sun and the beach. I don't even think about Jaws when I do think about the movie when I see this, but I just think about being on a beach, sunscreen, in the sun, getting a tan, going swimming at the beach, because of like the color scheme here. You essentially have 3 colors besides the human lady. You have the red, the white, the blue. And if that doesn't already speak, you know, America, when, you know, the 4th of July and all this stuff, I don't know. Just, it really, and then of course you have the shark and the unsuspecting lady. There's so much, there's not a lot to look at, but there's so much to like, wow, they could have done this, or they could have done this, but they did this for a certain reason. And all the colors blend together so well. So that's easily why it comes in at my number 4 spot. And in our top 3, we have The Thing. I cannot tell you how many times when I look, like when someone tells me, oh, hey, you want to see my horror movie collection? And I immediately go to see if they have this movie because I just love this poster. It doesn't show you what the monster looks like. It shows, like, it's like, it's kind of creepy. You know, you see just this shadowy figure, but it's not even meant to be like a ghost or anything like that. It's kind of like, from what the poster looks like, it has like the ice, and like if I didn't know what The Thing was about, I would say, you know, this looks like some kind of creature that comes out of the ice and is causing terror on people. And when I think of a monster movie, I think of this image exactly. I don't know why. I know there's a lot of monster movies out there, but this just looks like, for me, the ultimate, like, wow, that's a monster. That's some kind of weird looking thing that maybe looks like a human, but is definitely not a human. Like almost like deceiving you. I don't know. Definitely why it comes in as my top 3 posters of all time. And our runner-up is The Empire Strikes Back. I almost contemplated between this and my number 1, but let's just talk about the obvious here for a second. The colors and the way that they like just fade throughout, and not just fade, but like they go and they fade a little bit and they come back in again. Who was in charge of the color in this poster? Because I want them in charge of all of the colors for every poster ever made. I look at it and like I feel a sense of giddiness just rising. I'm like, wow, I just want to go watch Star Wars again, even though I probably just watched this last month. This movie is already fantastic and is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. But you look at the poster, it tells you immediately who you're supposed to care about. Immediately you can tell the menacing force in the very background watching all of this unfold. And it just, there's so much going, you can see there's so much going on. And I almost am overwhelmed, but then I look at like a different part of the poster and I'm like, wow, you know, that's really cool that they included that in there. Just an absolutely an amazing poster. the best poster from Star Wars to ever exist. We definitely need more posters like this. And my favorite movie poster of all time is Back to the Future. I know this is a pretty popular one, but I absolutely love it. I could talk for hours about between the lighting and the little taglines on the side, like, oh, he was never in time for his classes. It's so, like, short, sweet, and to the point. There are people that have made numerous theory videos about this movie. If I look at this poster, I know I'm watching a time travel movie. Back to the Future. I know I'm watching a time travel movie. I can see him looking at his wrist, which is like a common, like, understanding that, hey, I'm looking at my watch. We know that this has something to do with a car, and that he, you know, he has this very fancy, weird outfit on with like a vest and the jeans. We know he's some, you know, cool kid. And that's exactly what happens in the movie. I look at this poster and I look at this character, and before I even watch the movie, I know that this character is going to be just one of my favorites. And he ends up, of course, being one of my favorites. If you can convince an audience to already like a movie or a character or something about your movie just by looking at the poster, they haven't seen any teasers, trailers, any footage from the movie, and they look at a poster and they say, wow, that looks awesome. You have done something special with your poster. And for me, when I was younger and I was introduced to the first movie and I saw well, obviously I didn't see the poster first. I saw the DVD cover, and this was what was on it. This was the poster. I fell in love with it. I was like, wow, that looks really cool. I want to watch that. And wouldn't you know, became one of my favorite movies of all time. So let me know, please, what your favorite movie posters are. Did you love my list? Did you hate my list? Regardless of how you felt, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. And I look forward to hearing what your guys' favorite movie posters are. Until next time, guys, peace.